Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. Is the United States government going to adopt XRP? And when this case is over, will XRP have a supply shock? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Right now, it is $1.03 trillion cryptocurrency market cap, up 6% right now. Good afternoon. 20,400 plus for Bitcoin, 1,500 slightly more for Ethereum. XRP is at 46 cents, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's take a look at this. It's my sponsor, Masterworks, and you know what? I love working with them. It's a chance to really be able to get into blue chip investments of art. They've commoditized art. They have made it possible so people like you and I can participate in owning some of the most incredible artwork in the world, or at least shares thereof it. They are securities, and I love it. And by the way, fine art is some of the most incredible investment opportunities, at least according to history. Doesn't guarantee anything in the future, but at least according to history in uncertain times, there are really incredible returns. And we're seeing that right now by Ed Ruska here and a couple others that are outperforming the S&P. You can also check that off this chart and other types of investments and compare it against it. Click the link underneath the video. All right, look at this, everybody, right here. Let's take a look here. This is Apple released new rules for cryptocurrency apps and games. And basically what they said, we're not making exceptions for NFTs. That's what long and short I got it at was. Let's take a look at this. SEBA Bank's retail and institutional clients can now store tokens on Ethereum-based NFT collections like Bored Apes and CryptoPunks in the bank's new custodial service. Broadly, even going outside of the success that we've seen for CryptoPunks and Bored Apes, which I'm very excited about for all of them and everyone involved in it, think about NFTs inside of other areas of intellectual property, music, for instance, right? Think about it in the way of actual property, like titles and land. I mean, this... again, I just very quickly, I want to say, cryptocurrency is going to become a very small part of this new digital asset class because I believe everything's going to be tokenized. And we see SEBA Bank, they're making their presence known there. Central Bank of Turkey plans to launch a CBDC in 2023. They're having troubles, and they have often had recurring troubles with their currency there. I think they're hoping that this will be a solution. However, I think the idea that, countries are moving to CBDCs isn't just to digitize the money. I believe they're moving to digitize the money because there's going to be a new digital system. Over the past month, USD coin has lost nearly 20% of its market capitalization, falling from 53.3 billion to just under 43.9 in a single day. Almost 5 billion in USDC was withdrawn, representing a loss of nearly 9.2% of its total capitalization. I have said, and I could be wrong, and if I am, you guys know I will cover it. But I have said that I believe USD coin is the unofficial, official U.S. retail-facing digital dollar. That's the way I'm seeing it. And they're more highly regulated and transparent than anybody before. You've never gotten numbers like this from Tether, have you? When we're so early, but I do believe there's going to be a day that comes that deals with all of this private stable coin money and how it's going to be handled. Stay tuned, everybody. That show's not over. Remittance giant Western Union plans to venture into crypto. Well, you know what? They had an opportunity. They tested Ripple. They said it wasn't really any much of a game changer for them. They only tried 8 transactions. But this is going to be a way for them to create more revenue. That's what we're talking about here. Ultimately, I do believe you see everyone move to the new digital rails. No matter, look, Western Union, as to Brad Garlinghouse's comments years ago, have an incredible internal system. But where we're going no one will be immune to. XRP-focused investment products saw 800,000 of inflows last week, which are relatively small compared to Bitcoin's 4.6 million in inflows over the same period, but represent the largest since the lawsuit with the SEC began for Ripple. I want to highlight this. The price of XRP soared last month as Crypto Globe reported after reports revealed that both Ripple and the SEC were looking for a ruling in their long-running legal battle through a so-called summary judgment. The filing suggested neither party wants the legal action to continue to a full trial. The SEC sued Ripple and two of its executives in 2020, alleging they sold unregistered securities when they issued 1.3 billion worth of tokens. XRP denies XRP is a security, or Ripple denies XRP is a security. Me too. But maybe not. What I want to share with you is this. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse earlier this year noted that he believed the company would prevail in its legal battle against the regulator. Ripple settling the lawsuit could lead to an XRP supply shock, which presumably would lead to a price surge as demand would remain the same while supply plunged. That's according to the legal expert and XRP supporter Jeremy Hogan, who's been following the case. Now, I don't know if Jeremy went as far as say all those things, but what I'll say is I do think I don't know how much of that was actually Jeremy's comments, but to lead to an XRP supply shock, think about the case ending and what that may mean. And obviously, it would depend to what end, right? What is XRP going forward is going to be a great deal of importance here. If the judge rules on the past and doesn't really go forward in the ruling to clarify what it is going forward and just says what it was, well, that would be a bit sad, right? But nevertheless, I do believe that this case is extremely important. This is a clip I covered back in early November from a great interview here. I want to play this for you because in this interview, he talks about the top-down and the bottom-up approach that they're doing at Ripple for the mass adoption of all things that they're doing. And what I found interesting in these comments is where he describes the early days of the internet and how the government and the military were the first to adopt the internet. But we've yet to, and I'll just add to that idea and that comment he made, we have yet to see the government come in or the military, right, in a meaningful way to understand how they're using this. And I have to say, imagine now the decision in that case, some legislation, let's say a prudential regulator like the U.S. Treasury coming in as well and doing what they need to. All of those coordinated things happen, and then we have a situation that has immediately cleared a path for the government to adopt this technology. It'd be very easy for me to see an XRP supply shock in a set of scenarios or a set of events that could create that kind of scenario. Listen to this clip really quickly here.
I love to hear about the founding days of Ripple.
Yeah, at that time, so that was probably mid to late 2011, sort of two cracks were emerging in the Bitcoin narrative, such as it was at the time. Obviously, the narrative was, most of the people were technical enthusiasts. They were very interested in the technological end, and they weren't as savvy about like how to drive adoption. The only strategy that anyone could think of was a grassroots strategy. And that's not how the internet got adopted, right? The internet was adopted by government and military first. So it's a, and that's not how the internet got adopted, right? The internet was adopted by government and military first, kind of the.
That's a very, very key point. We've yet to see that here at home. And I've said it before, and I believe that the case was a weapon used early on by people who had insights that others did not. And I also believe that this case had to happen, regardless of people's greed, knowing it had to happen as well, in my opinion. They knew that they had to have clarity before the government could even do such a thing. And isn't it true that if you're going to start out and you're looking for the decision that FinCEN made that XRP is in fact a currency, virtual currency, then isn't it really true that you need the government to really adopt this thing so it can truly become regarded as money and at least backed by whatever you're going to put on the ledger, I would imagine. Take a listen again.
Very earliest focus, and I think that kind of matured between 2011 and 2014, this kind of focus of like, we really need to solve payments. Like, and if you think about any other use case, you think about an NFT. Well, I want to buy it and I want to sell it. You know, think about a loan. Well, I want to pay the loan back and I want to get paid like the amount of money I borrowed. Like all of these other use cases need great payments. And so we just sort of laser focused in on payments. And I think the other thing that we did different from the very earliest days was everybody else, including us in the beginning, had this ground up strategy. Like if you don't have a strategy, your strategy is get everybody to use the thing that I think is great. And I think a lot of companies are still pursuing that. But I think there's also a sort of top down strategy. And that's kind of what the internet did. Like the internet got governments to adopt it. They got universities, they got sort of big players. And so we decided, what are the biggest players? They're banks. And we went after banks. We probably should have aimed a little bit lower than that. The problem with banks is obviously like banks are a big deal. Like any crypto partnership with a bank is a big deal. But the problem is banks are slow moving and they're not. And especially, and the bigger they are, the less interested they are in innovation.
Because they're king of the hill. They don't want to change because the system is in place. Right? He who has the gold makes the rules. They are the central monopolists. But if the government adopts the technology, it's going to pave the way for the banks. And it only takes two. Remember Bob Way, only takes two. Two banks start really doing it and getting that clarity so they can do it. It's going to be a first mover advantage market.
Biggest banks talk about how important innovation is, but really, if they could push pause on technology, they would. Why right? Mm-hmm. Right? You know, why would they not want to freeze time where they're now like right at the top? And so aiming just a little bit lower, you have people, you have companies like non-bank financial institutions, payment service providers. These are companies that have the resources to make a big difference. Like scoring one of them using a cryptocurrency-based system matters. You know, it's not like, you know, you don't have to get thousands and thousands of them.
I mean, every year there's just so much more happening, right?
And I just want to add to that, you know, this next crisis, which I believe is on the edge of unfolding here, isn't going to be a real estate crisis like the last one. It's going to be a monetary problem. It's going to be a monetary crisis. And that's where the banks lose their leverage to be so stubborn. Because this time around, it'll be them that needs the hand. You know, where this goes, nobody knows, but I couldn't be more excited about where it is going. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice, but this is my digital perspectives. Oh, before I do get out of here, I want to show you this. This just in, slight piece of news right here. Shout out to Jim. The SEC takes no position on the motions to file amicus briefs for Investor Choice Advocates Network, known as ICANN, and Spend the Bits, but requests that it be able to respond in its reply brief, in support of the SEC's motion for summary judgment. That's where we are on this day. I'll catch all of you on the next one.